4, 3, 2, 1. CTS pop culture, not pop culture.
Wow, our 50th episode, and you can't even get the name right. This is why I need to do the beginning. It's CTS PC.
No, it's not.
Podcast.
PC
CTS
is pop culture.
No. I say, on the other one, I say CTS PC EP.
No.
This one is CTS
I promise
PC EP 50.
What can
CTS Podcast episode 50.
podcast, like podcast is 2 words?
Yeah.
I'm not going to let you walk that one back.
Nope.
That's pretty
what I
ridiculous.
say.
Episode
That's
50.
what I say.
We're on episode 50. That's halfway to 100. Pretty crazy.
100th episode. We're getting a special guest panel of Trump, Biden, Sarah Palin, Mitt Romney, and whoever the next German president is.
Boris
president,
Johnson.
That's English.
No, he's going to be the next German.
So he's
Minister.
going to take over the world then.
Pretty much. It's
Dude,
all looking Boris.
I got on TikTok. I got on Chinese communists like TikTok, but like unironic
Makes
CCP
sense.
supporters,
Mm-hmm.
like completely unironic.
Yeah.
And it's like it was like an edit, like a thirst trap of Xi, and it's like
That's ironic, though.
no, you would think it's ironic, but not really a thirst trap. It was like
I think it's one
It
or
was
2
like-
levels too deep for you.
it was someone on the media is like Xi Jinping is a dictator, and then it like showed like with music, it's like da, 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 and it's just pictures of Xi Jinping growing up in like middle class China, all
I
the
think
way
it's
rising
so
up to like, the leader.
ironic that it
No.
went over your head. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on.
Nothing goes over my head.
Okay, let's talk about kind of close to home. Idaho Lieutenant Governor. We're not sponsored by Coca-Cola. I don't know. why
There's no
you're setting
swig.
it up
There's
like
no
that.
swig today.
Oh my goodness. At least Swig's like kind of a local company.
No, we are sponsored by
Sponsored
Coca-Cola.
by Coca-Cola. Okay. Idaho Lieutenant Governor. Kind of a crazy story.
I think it didn't like get the amount of media I would expect. Like this is for me top 5 stories of the year.
One of the craziest things I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, easily one of the craziest things I've ever seen. So, Idaho's governor leaves state. He gets invited to check out the border with a bunch of other Republican governors in Texas. So he leaves the state of Idaho and goes to Texas, where he still has legislative authority. Like he's not like mentally incapacitated. He's not like he's not in undue health. He's still the governor of Idaho.
Is that a thing though? I'm not.
It's like a gray area whether like he can still exercise his roles as governor. At least that's how I interpreted it. It's like a gray area.
Because that seems weird that like especially it almost feels like a remnant of some old rule where if your governor left the state, you had to the lieutenant governor had to like.
I've heard it both ways.
Step up.
Yeah. So I've heard that like he still has. I don't know. It just depends. Anyways, he goes to the border, and his lieutenant governor, this really pretty far right woman, assumes power and starts issuing a bunch of executive orders and then posting them on Twitter. I mean, taking a picture of the executive order and just tweeting it like this is what we're doing now.
Oh
I will always
gosh.
fight for Idahoans, and just takes a picture, uploads it. Like almost subtweeting the governor, just like subtweeting, like, oh, look what I can do,
It's
like
so weird.
I'm going to defend Idaho. Well, you want to know something crazier?
Mm-hmm.
Idaho elects their lieutenant governor separate from their governor.
Really?
Yes, that's why.
That makes more sense because I was thinking about that. I was like, it seems weird. Why would you pick a lieutenant governor while you're running?
Yeah.
That's gonna do crap like that.
But it's weird that they elect him separate. That's what they did in like the first and second presidential elections, like, all the way up until a certain point.
It was this person
winner,
that came in second place. Yeah, it was the vice president.
So it's a little bit different in Idaho, but anyways, lieutenant governor posts all these like executive orders on Twitter and enacts them as law. And then the governor gets on Twitter.
Well, didn't she also like inquire into activating the National Guard?
Yeah. So she inquired into activating the National Guard of Idaho
Why?
to go to the border and help secure the border.
Uh,
The National Guard of Idaho. The head of the National Guard in Idaho was like, no, you can't
Imagine
do
they
that.
just have to like march from Idaho all
Dude,
the way to the border.
And then she like tried to walk it back. She was like, I never did this. But
I was just like asking about it. That's all it was. I just wanted to know what would happen.
and
Weird.
So, and one of the executive orders is like banning vaccine mandates, banning vaccine mandates for like children. School districts can't do it. All this crazy stuff. So the Idaho governor gets on Twitter and he says, I'm going to reverse all of the things
Every single
Lieutenant
thing she
Governor is
did
doing.
is getting reversed. That seems like something that you might go, let's like change how our system works.
Yeah,
So
you
that
would think.
like everybody else, you just run like with a lieutenant governor, and so you don't get somebody random that takes control of this. I still don't get. I don't understand that. Like in today, with the communication methods that we have, why you would need to cede control, like why you would become like not able to do your job as governor if you left the state.
Yeah, I don't
That
get
can't be. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, she posted all of these executive orders on Twitter. There was like a Twitter, subtweet. They were subtweeting each other on Twitter, like just the weirdest thing. I think weirdest news story I've ever seen. And then he says he's going to reverse all of the stuff that she did. And she did some weird stuff. These executive orders were like, it's like, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like something a real person would do.
No.
That they go, like it's like
Time to assume control.
like the dumb comedy movies where it's like, oh, parents are out of town for the weekend, like let's go crazy, let's throw a party. Like I'm just gonna do a bunch of executive orders and just bizarre. I saw that story I think on like CNN or something, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. Then you look into it more, and it's real. It's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, it was on Twitter. I mean, it's still on Twitter.
Yeah.
So that stuff was,
Is the real governor
top 5
back
stories.
yet?
I
Do
don't
you know?
know. I have no idea. I would think so.
Yeah, that is
It's been like a week.
pretty crazy.
It really is. Can you imagine if you elected your vice president different than the president and like on the federal level? Can you imagine like the president doesn't get to choose their vice president and you just have another?
Well, is there any other? Because I guess it wouldn't be that big a deal if you didn't like every time you left the state cede control. Like all of a sudden the vice president was in charge. Like if Biden traveled to some other country and now Kamala was in charge, like the complete president. I just don't. Yeah, it's weird. That part of it doesn't make sense to me why that would be a thing when it doesn't seem like it's a thing anywhere else.
Yeah, no. I mean, think about like even if Biden goes to like China, he can still exercise his duties as president.
I mean, there's very few things that will stop you from like at least on a federal level, like with the president, that will stop you from like being in power. Like you have to be like either like 25th Amendment, right? Like,
Well, do you want to hear a funny story?
what?
It was rumored that Trump, when he was going to undergo a colonoscopy, he refused to go under anesthesia
I think
because
that's
he would
fake.
have to.
I think that's
give
fake.
Pence,
I think that's
presidential
fake.
powers for the however long. Yeah, it was just a rumor.
Because it's stuff that like you can't, if you're the administration, you can't come out and deny it, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, I think that stuff's fake, and people are just like, we know we can say it, and they can't really say anything back. But yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's pretty weird. Did you let's talk about the Facebook stuff.
Mhm.
Facebook stuff is nuts. So, Facebook whistleblower comes out and essentially says that Facebook prioritizes, revenue over safety in like
Mhm.
all respects. And she comes out with all this damaging evidence and all these damaging claims. And of those claims, get this, Zuckerberg has more voting power than like any other CEO of these big companies, like in Silicon Valley. He has 55% of the voting power. So anything he says goes. And
Yeah.
she said that.
Like,
She was
he
like,
is Facebook.
that's what she said. He's like, he is the decision maker. He gets to decide everything that goes on in Facebook.
That's crazy. That'd be it'd be pretty tough to like not cash out if you own that much of Facebook to just like, oh, I could just go live in a mansion in Hawaii and play golf every day.
Yeah,
or I can destroy democracy.
It's like a power thing, right? Because he's already won. He's won capitalism. He has. I
don't know. He's like 8th now.
Yeah. He's like, he could cash out and never have to think about Facebook again. He could just sell his stocks and he could go live somewhere peacefully. But I guess these CEOs like running their companies. I would imagine like it's like your baby. You have to, you want it to do well. But if if I'm like worth like billions of dollars, I'm like, okay, I win.
Like an amount of money that you couldn't
spend it.
I don't know how you could spend it.
No,
like you couldn't. You like physically, like when your net worth is the same as the GDP of like small nations.
Yeah.
That at that point it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna like hang out, like chill, just do some fun stuff, pick up a new hobby, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd never have to work again. There's nothing physical.
No
that you
one
could
in
buy.
your bloodline would have to work again with that much money, like for generations and generations. But yeah, so the Facebook whistleblower comes out, and then Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp go down. Unrelated, because
it's considered a conspiracy theory now. If you say that Facebook intentionally shut it down, it's like considered a conspiracy theory.
Because I heard like almost fact at the start that it was like they shut it down because of that. But then also I was seeing things like that people found like why it went down, and it was like they just like Facebook just got deleted. Like they were getting like some crazy domain error where I don't know, but that's pretty poor timing regardless whether it was intentional or not for that whistleblower to come out and then Facebook to go down.
Yeah, so Facebook stock dropped like 6%. Mark Zuckerberg lost like $8 billion or something in a day. In net worth. But of the claims that she makes, I was watching like some of her testimony to the Senate, and both sides of the aisle were just railing Facebook. Oh my gosh, I've never seen Facebook.
That's good. Railed. I like bipartisan when we can dunk on.
Dude, it's so weird, and they're like so
corporations.
cordial to each other when they both don't like something that's going on. It's so weird. Like you watch it and it's like, oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I have like an additional 2 minutes so I can finish asking this question? It's like, oh, sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. Did you see? Hold on, sorry, not to interrupt, but did you see the dude that was like asking, like, what are you going to do to end Finsta?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Blumenthal. Yeah, Senator Blumenthal.
What on earth? How? That seems like kind of revealing. In the sense that, like, you're representing millions of people and you are asking a question like that. It seems like that's a problem.
Well, and the person he was questioning did so bad at answering the question. Like she wasn't like trying to help him understand at all.
Wouldn't explain what it was. She was like, Finsta is not a service we offer.
Yeah, it's
which is like implying it's a service that somebody offers
that exists.
And so, but I was dying when I was seeing that.
It is weird.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the Facebook thing.
Yeah, I mean, they were just essentially railing Facebook for a long time. But here's an interesting fact. Did you know that those whistleblowers that whistleblow to like the SEC, they get a cut of whatever the SEC
large
finds?
Cut.
Like 20 to 30%.
So I would in a heartbeat whistleblow. Like I don't like, not to question especially like Facebook, right? Because you're like, the SEC is gonna fine them like at least like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, way more.
I'm sure
Facebook's-
way more, but
their
at
last
least
fine was like $5 billion.
I heard though that was like the SEC was only gonna fine them like $100 million, and Facebook said we'll fine or we'll pay you $5 billion if you just like get off our backs and don't.
Well, yeah, they wanted Zuckerberg and someone else to be they were going to subpoena Zuckerberg and another one of them. And
Yeah.
they said, okay, we'll give you $5 billion if you don't subpoena them.
That to me, if I'm like the SEC, makes me go
Red flag. I
like
wonder why
you're
they're willing
offering
to
me
pay so much.
50x what I was gonna fine you. Like, that seems. It's like like when people are selling like when they go on that like that Pawn Stars show, and
Yeah.
they're like offering something, and the dudes are like, yeah, I'll give you what you're asking for. You got to be like, hold on.
Whoa.
One sec. Why is that?
whoa.
Hold on. Like, usually people don't just like jump up and go, you only wanted 100 million, but I'll give you 5 billion. Just like, don't worry about it. Let's just sweep this under the rug. Seems like something that I would want to continue to investigate.
Dude, if I'm the SEC, I'm like, okay, make it $30 billion.
Just, should Facebook really have more than like $1 billion? Make it like 99% of
Yeah.
the value of the company.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Bunch of damaging stuff came out against Facebook. Both sides of the aisle are like working to correct it. I don't know what that means.
Did you see Zuckerberg's response
No.
to it?
No.
So he came out with this thing where it was like, no, we're not pushing like any like, because one of the accusations was they pushed like political like discord, like they wanted people like arguing and fighting and stuff on the platform. And so he came out with like the Q2 like kind of like analytics, and they're like, see, like the most viewed posts were like pets and like crafts and kids and stuff. And they're like, okay, so like what was the most viewed posts in Q1? And Facebook wouldn't release it.
Really?
They were like, they wouldn't release it. They just released Q2. And apparently some like internal like leak stuff was, they were like, yeah, if we show the Q1 stuff, it basically proves the point that we're
really
showing, like purposely driving,
dude,
that type of
do you
stuff.
still use Facebook?
I've never used Facebook.
The only reason I have a Facebook account still is for the Oculus.
Yeah, I mean that. I guess I have a Facebook account.
Yeah. But no, Facebook has become like the degenerate sort of
But
like,
the Facebook umbrella also includes like Instagram and WhatsApp, right? Which are like, WhatsApp isn't as big here, but it's big like everywhere else in the world. So
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. I saw a couple videos where people were like when I got to America and everyone was texting like sending normal text messages, and they were like shocked about it, which is weird to me. I don't know if it's like since people are in like so many different countries, like it's harder for like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, and I mean Snapchat. I know people at our age at least. I think I talk on Snapchat more than I do
Yeah.
on text messaging.
Yeah, WhatsApp just feels very like like 7th grade, like you had an iPod and were trying to text people, or like whatever those free like messaging apps were. But yeah, I don't know. It is pretty crazy. I'm surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they broke Facebook up.
Yeah, I mean they should. I mean that's what they're in court right now. As far as last I heard was they're in court to break Facebook up.
Yeah. Like at least split up like Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. But the problem is, I bet at that point you end up with companies like Apple and Google that come in and go, hey, we don't want a precedent set here. Like, let's, like, they might fight against that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Apple is a weird one because it's like I don't really know why they would get. I don't know how you split Apple up, but like Google could definitely be a split up. You split up YouTube, which is the second largest search engine in the world.
Which is nuts.
Yeah, which is nuts. And then Google has a bunch of affiliates. But Apple's kind of a weirder one because it's like it's their tech. I mean, they built it from scratch, so it's kind of I don't know how you break Apple up as easily. I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah, unless you just pick off like little small portions of the business, like stuff like Apple TV. Like you can't have
Yeah.
a streaming service. You can't stuff like that. Or just deal with like the iTunes thing, right? Like the Fortnite iTunes thing where you just say, well, you can't just make it that exclusive anymore that they have to pay you. So,
Or like how Apple makes it as difficult as possible to repair their devices.
have you seen
don't
the
use-
new on the iPhone 13s?
Yeah.
I watched a video where a dude, he took two identical iPhones and switched their logic chips. So they're both iPhone 13, the exact same iPhone 13, like the logic chips in them, switched, and almost every feature was disabled when he turned the phone back on. It said like we can't do Face ID, we can't like a bunch of the camera stuff was messed up. It wouldn't let him do like Apple Pay. There was a ton of different things that like was software disabled because it's not hardware disabled because it's the exact same logic chip just from a different phone. That stuff's nuts.
I don't know how it's not illegal because if you think about it, or like, I don't know if can they void your, I think they can void your warranty if you take it to an outside.
Right. Because if you replace like you break the glass on your screen and you take it to somewhere that's not Apple, and then you go and try and get your battery replaced by Apple, nothing to do with the screen, they won't replace it.
It's crazy. And if you think about like when you buy a car, there's a federal law that you can get maintenance and all your work done by like third party providers. Like you can go to Jiffy Lube, for example. You don't have to go directly to
the dealership.
The dealership, yeah. I think there should be a similar stuff with tech where they can't just make it impossible or they can't void your warranty if you go somewhere else. Like there should be protections in place for that kind of stuff.
Well, did you see Europe is trying to make it so that all phones have to charge with the USB-C?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
I hope they do that. That would be nice.
Well, the USB-C is just better, all right? It's just a better cord.
Yeah. And like you already use USB-C for like MacBooks and iPads.
The new iPads. The new the Beats I just got, the newest ones, they have USB-C.
Yeah, everything charges with USB-C now except for iPhones and some, even like the PlayStation controller. The new PlayStation controller is USB-C.
That's how the new Xbox controller is too.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, but apparently Apple is like freaking out about it and they're fighting it.
Which is just weird. It's like the USB-C is just like a better. Well, I think like the tech with USB-C is like better too. Like I think it's actually a better charger than Apple's Lightning connector.
Yeah, I don't understand the difference, and maybe that's just like I'm ignorant on the technology, but it definitely seems like it should be like just mandated. I would be very stoked not to have 15 different charging cords.
It is ironic though that like they're putting those, they're kind of coming after like American companies that have these different charging things when in Europe Americans would need to buy a different charger just to use the outlets. Like just to use the outlets, it's a different cord.
Yeah. That is funny how like there's a million different. Have you ever seen one of those adapters that you plug in that can go like anywhere? So you have a bunch of different tabs that you pull, and there's like 100 different combinations. That it's like, why did we not just go? Let's all make it the same. But yeah, that is kind of ironic. America should just go, well, we're not selling any of our products unless you let it charge with this type of.
Dude, can you imagine getting so high, like getting into the weeds of a big company and just whistleblowing and getting like $3 billion from the SEC or whatever it is? Just hundreds of millions of dollars from the SEC.
It's weird. You'd think it happened more often.
Yeah.
Because you don't hear about it that often.
No.
Like big ones. So I don't know if that's like indicative that big companies aren't doing bad things, which I doubt. I kind of doubt. Or if it's just like, it might just be, it's probably just super difficult. I bet it's
Well,
difficult.
you got to figure, like, there's only a limited number of people that get into a position where they learn these company secrets.
That's true.
And then of those people, like,
How many are just willing to go, I'll just take a huge salary at Facebook for the rest of my life and not
Yeah.
risk, like, the SEC not really finding them, right? Because if Facebook, like, fights a legal battle and doesn't get fined, this whistleblower gets just, like, blacklisted from the industry. No one will hire her, and nothing. Loses her job.
The split, if like one of these companies that you whistleblow tries to retaliate against you, is even higher. So like you get a bigger split if they try to retaliate.
That's so
which is kinda
crazy.
weird.
Well,
Yeah.
who was it? I heard of somebody that, like, similar thing that, like, whistle blew on some company and just got, like, crazy amounts of money. And what company was it? But I've heard of, like, that and this Facebook one are kind of the big ones that I've heard of, really.
Yeah, I would love it, dude. That'd be such free money. Can you imagine just the SEC writing you a check? It'd be so weird.
It is a weird, like...
Well, and it's the same thing with like the IRS. If you report someone that you
Have you
believe
seen those
isn't-
videos
yeah,
that it's
you've-
like some dude at a car wash? It's like, oh, what'd you get in tips today?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, $1.50. It's like, well, thank you. IRS whistleblower form.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is that's also weird. It's like the government's gonna pay you for
Like ratting out
For being
other
a rat,
people.
yeah.
But yeah, that is weird that they're like, especially that it's such a high percentage. Like,
Right.
you don't even get, if you discover like treasure, like in the ocean, you don't even get that high a percentage.
Really?
Yeah, like I think you get like 1%.
Well, like who takes the rest?
It goes to museums.
Oh, really?
They pay you like 1% of the value, and then it just goes to like a museum.
Wow.
Yeah. So, whistleblow or find like a sunken Spanish ship with billions of dollars of gold.
They give you one gold coin, and it's like the worst one.
It's not. It's one of the chocolate ones. You're like,
They're like, this isn't even real.
You're-
They're like, yes,
wait,
it
this
is. You're
didn't
like,
come from the ship.
you're like, unwrap it, you like eat it.
Oh, you ate it. You took it. Sorry.
Dude, this is like a really big story that got media attention for like a day and a half. The Pandora Papers. Bum,
That's like
bum,
Avatar, right?
bum. Like what? Oh yeah, Pandora.
Like the blue people.
Yeah, so shut up. These papers were essentially like a bunch of reporting or
Like
investigative
journalism.
that revealed a list of all these super wealthy celebrities, politicians, businessmen, athletes that store their assets in, essentially like international
Tax havens.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? I think it's something like 900 billion.
900 billion.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's so crazy that people just like get away with that.
Well, it's crazy that it's legal, right? I mean, that's the weird thing is it's like
Is it legal?
it's like so that's what I don't understand. I think it's like a gray area.
Because
I
you
don't
always
know.
hear about that stuff, right? Like the joke is like offshore bank accounts and
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
that's not like something that's uncommon, which you'd think for how super illegal it sounds,
Right.
it'd be.
right. It would actually be illegal.
But even companies do it, right? Like
Yeah.
companies will have. I think I saw something where there's like an office building in New Hampshire, maybe, where like 40 companies, like giant companies, are headquartered. Because if your headquarters in that country, or in that like, because of whatever tax laws the state has, you don't have to pay like corporate income tax or something.
Yeah, I know. I think Georgia's one of them. A lot of companies have been using South Dakota. They've been headquartering in South Dakota because of the tax haven stuff. But yeah, it's pretty nuts. You would think that, especially like in Europe, I feel like they're pretty serious about. I mean, in the United States, they're pretty serious about avoiding taxes too. But in Europe especially, it's like, I don't know.
Seems like every other day you hear about some
Yeah.
celebrity or athlete that's under investigation in Spain for
Yeah.
tax fraud. And Spain has a funny one on tax fraud because they'll give you, like, if your sentence is under 24 months, like for jail time, it just goes away if it's your first time being sentenced.
Oh, really?
So you'll hear about all these celebrities that get sentenced to like 16 months in prison in Spain for like tax evasion or something, or tax fraud or whatever. And then it's like, well, but it's the first offense, so it just goes away. It's weird stuff. But yeah, it is. That got attention. I don't even know if it was a day and a half. Like, I
Yeah.
felt like it really got
Well, I mean,
attention
it
for like half a
probably-
day.
It probably wasn't very popular with the owners of like the biggest media companies because, you know,
Yeah.
they could very well be engaging in storing money offshore.
But there weren't that many Americans
no
on the Pandora Papers.
No, but me and you were talking about this. I think it's because America, if you use the tax laws right, it's like its own safe haven.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
We've got enough of an advantage just right here at home.
I mean, Amazon didn't really pay. I mean, last in like 2019 or whatever.
But
it
they're
was,
usually
they don't
pretty
pay
good.
any
Like
federal.
individuals have to pay.
Yeah,
like
they're really
income.
good about coming after people on the like individual level.
And that's what the Pandora Papers was, right? Is like a bunch
Oh,
of
I see what you
individuals,
mean.
not
Yeah, yeah.
but still that is kind of bizarre. You'd think at least a few more very wealthy Americans would show up.
Yeah,
And you'd be like, "Oh yeah, I figured like those people were
yeah.
avoiding taxes."
Do you want to hear something weird? Did you know
Mhm.
that Europe has negative interest rates? Did you know that in their bank accounts? So when you go to Europe and you like store money in your in like a large amount of money in a bank account, the bank charges you. So your balance will go down instead of going up.
Is that like just fees? Like we have fees here. but
No,
it's
like a rolling negative interest rate per month. So like in the United States, typically when you store money in a bank account, you earn like 0.000004.2%
Yeah, like you
interest. Like it's
look after a few months and
unless
you
you
have
have-
13 cents.
yeah, unless you have like hundreds of millions of dollars, it's like non-consequential.
And if you have that much money, you don't have it in a savings account
where it's
anyways.
insured up to $250,000 by the FDIC. Yeah, no, but yeah, so like Elon Musk was talking about it, and he says that Tesla has bank accounts in Europe, and you could just watch as the balance just. It's not a lot, right? But when you have that amount of money, even if it's 0.0004% negative interest, I mean, it's going down like 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700.
Is that? I wonder why that is. I've never heard of that. Is that?
Yeah, it's
is
weird.
it like incentivizing people to have their money in the market, or is it just like?
I don't know. I think it's just
Because
I
do
have
banks
no idea.
not work the same way they do in the U.S.?
They have to. They have to earn money off what you deposit,
right? Because they have to be able to make those make investments.
Yeah, that's
the
what I
way
don't
banks in
understand.
the U.S. work.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, that's weird. I would be pretty upset if you were like sitting there and you're like
Just watching your money go down.
not on like the amount of money me or you would have in the bank account.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be going down that much, but
And I don't know if it's for like individuals, like a normal person, but Elon Musk says that his balance goes down, which is kind of weird to think about.
yeah, that is a bizarre thing. Let's see. Want to wrap it up?
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Okay, let's call it.
Special CTS podcast, episode 50, CTSPC.